The world might seem crowded, but there are still many places that have been completely abandoned. People often leave behind everything, creating hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. From the incredible discovery in an abandoned mine to treasure from sunken fleet, here are 20 shocking items found in abandoned places. Number 20. Farmer finds $600 million buried in drums, believed to be part of Pablo Escobar's treasure. José Mariente Cardelos, a Colombian farmer, found some of Pablo Escobar's buried money. Escobar is the richest in the history of the world. Some estimates put Escobar's personal wealth at the time of his death at $60 billion, which would have been enough to hire Bill Gates as your personal mate, if that's the kind of thing that you'd like to do for some reason. In short, he was insanely rich. But Escobar didn't keep his money in tax-free corporations, 5G internet businesses, or charities like and I'm gonna throw up after I say this, honest billionaire would. Instead, he often put his money in barrels and buried them in the countryside of Colombia. Very old school. So when Farmer Cardelos started working on a piece of land that had been in his family for generations, he was surprised to find several oil barrels buried deep in the ground. When he got them open, he called the police. They came and found $600 million in cash in the barrels. Number 19. Uncovering and opening an abandoned mine. In 1872, Henry de Bardeleben and Daniel Pratt, who was his father-in-law, put their savings together to buy the Red Mountain Coal and Iron Company. They changed the company's name to the Eureka Mining and Transportation Company. This was a huge success as a business, but in time the mine was closed down and left abandoned for many years, until now. They opened this mine, and you won't believe what they found inside. This video shows the Eureka No. 2 mine, which was opened in 1873 and run by the Eureka Company until the 1890s, when it became part of the Tennessee Coal and Iron Company. In 1907, U.S. Steel bought Tennessee Coal and Iron Company. The mine was then renamed Ishkuta 13. The Ishkuta 13 mine was open until the 1950s, and all the U.S. Steel iron ore mines on the mountain were closed by the 1960s. In this video, the guys are digging up and reopening a mine that's been closed down for all of that time. They're not doing this to get iron or that's all long gone, but rather to explore and film this old mine. And the mine itself is the real treasure here. What a time capsule. How much rock these folks from the olden days moved was crazy, and in the harshest conditions with very little or no safety. Here at these mines, an estimated 305 million tons of iron ore were dug up. Thirsty work, no doubt. Guess that's why they have so much great beer and whiskey in Tennessee. Now it's time for today's topic. Some people might ask who left the Hell Gate open when they see this creature. In August of 2016, Siberian diamond miners reportedly dug up some weird unidentified mammal from a diamond mine in Udakny, which is in the Murmansky district of the Sakha Republic, far away in northeastern Russia. Some people believe it's some kind of dinosaur never before seen. Well, that is what the diamond miners who unearthed this strange creature believe anyway. Of course, experts are skeptical and don't want people to get excited. Some people believe that the mysterious creature could be some type of wolverine or perhaps some small bear which used to roam the Siberian wastelands. Because of the freezing temperatures, with the average temperature ranging from -110 degrees Fahrenheit to -95, the creature was almost perfectly mummified. Based on the photos that were taken of the creature, this mysterious animal appears to be some member of the Mustelidae, which are a family of carnivorous animals that include weasels, badgers, otters, minks, ferrets, martens, and wolverines. Of course, no one is absolutely sure what the mysterious creature really is. The creature appears to have a slim, ferret-like body and has 4 to 5 toes and a single claw on each, which isn't any stranger than a normal dog. However, the teeth on the strange-looking creature don't look like anything from a domestic animal that we know, like a fox or a dog or some kind of modern-day carnivore. Actually, the teeth on the creature more so resemble those of a saber-toothed cat, which is why many people think that this creature could have been down in the depths of the dark diamond mine for even millions of years. It could be possible that this animal might have been some prehistoric Siberian cat which hid in caves and came out during the day to hunt small mammals. The town that the diamond mine is in dates clear back to the Mesozoic era from about 250 to 66 million years ago. Perhaps this is the well-preserved mummy of a prehistoric creature from that age. It sure would be a spooky thing to come across while digging in a deep and dark mine. Number 18. Teen finds woman's long-lost wedding ring in sand. Zully Shober had come to terms with the fact that the valuable ring she lost on the beach would never come back. However, when California teen Devin Greer went for a walk on Huntington Beach, she ended up stumbling upon a ring in the sand. So Devin's mom wrote on the local Facebook page that her daughter found a ring and asked the ring's owner to send her a private message. Just 15 miles away, Zully Shober couldn't believe what she was reading because she had lost a ring on that same beach an incredible 11 years before. Schober and her husband Patrick went to Huntington Beach for the day more than 10 years ago. When they got home, Schober found that her wedding ring was gone. The mother went back to the beach more than once to look for the ring, but she couldn't find it. Both she and Patrick thought that the valuable ring was gone for good. So when Zully saw Devin's mom's Facebook post, she hoped for the best. Zully sent Devin's mom an old picture of her wedding ring to see if what the teenager found really was hers, and it was indeed her long-lost jewelry, which totally shocked her. Appreciate it. You're so welcome. You deserve it. And this is the moment when Devin gave Zully her wedding ring back. The teen's grateful mother gave her a big hug. Number 17. Nicolas Cage's comic book found in storage locker. Nicolas Cage says that the fact that his stolen old comic book was found 11 years later in a storage unit in Southern California was divine providence. To be clear, this wasn't a comic book about Nick Cage, and it wasn't a typical comic book. It's Action Comics #1, the first Superman comic, which is worth more than $1 million. It's the most important and valuable comic book, said Stephen Fischler, who sold the book to the actor in 1995. Before this book came out, there was no such thing as a superhero. It really got the comic book business going. Detective Donald Heinrich, who's been in charge of the LAPD's art theft detail, has been working on the case since the actor filed a theft report on January 21st of 2000. The actor, who won an Oscar for his role in Leaving Las Vegas, said that the item was taken from his home in LA. The police say that he got money from insurance for the loss. It is divine providence that the comic was found, and I'm hopeful that the heirloom will be returned to my family, Cage said. Number 16. A classic painting forgotten in an apartment. When this 91-year-old French woman died, her family inherited a secret apartment in France that she owned but had abandoned before World War II. It had a lot of strange things in it. One of them was an original painting by Giovanni Boldini, which went to sell at an auction for a whopping $2.5 million. The picture was one of a kind and showed a picture of the apartment's former tenant, Martha de Florian. A handwritten letter from the artist proved that it was real. Boldini was an Italian painter who lived most of his life in Paris. He was a genre and portrait painter. A 1933 article in Time magazine said that because of the way he painted, he was known as the Master of Swish. Being the Master of Swish must be pretty cool because even after he died, his work was still shown all over the world. In 1938, at the Newhouse Galleries in New York City, there was an art show of his work. This was 7 years after he had died. And now suddenly this long-lost painting surfaced after so many years locked up in an abandoned apartment building. Who knows why the famous painter had painted the woman? Maybe they were friends or even lovers, and she couldn't bear to be around the painting any longer. But in this case, it was a huge discovery for her family, and it's made them very rich. Number 15. Insane 175 Classic Cars Barn Find Collection in London. When a rare, all-original classic car comes out of a barn, dusty but hopefully otherwise in good shape, it's always a sight to behold. So if you take that excitement and you multiply it by 175, you get this huge find in a London warehouse. We're talking rows and rows of old BMWs, Porsches, Mercedes-Benzes, Volkswagens, and other brands, and they're being cleaned up so they can be sold after many years of being locked up and forgotten. One of the many cool cars is a white Nissan 300ZX Z31. Now you know you're really in luck if the engine starts and both flip-up headlights go up all the way. I tried to buy a white Nissan 300ZX when I was a kid, but my dad would not let me do it, which is good because I've totaled cars, and if I had that as a kid, I might not be here to read this to you. Anyway, there's a lot of Mercedes-Benz cars in the lineup, like an old 180, a 220 SE with a broken back window, a 350 SL, a 500 SL, a 280 SL, and many more, and not just SLs. If you prefer BMWs, you're in luck because there's some good ones in the mix. For example, you can get a BMW M5 E28, which was the first of its kind in 1985. A few BMW 2002s and the first 6 Series and E24 are also there. And as you might expect, because the barn was in England, this barn has a lot of British cars. A Land Rover Defender, a Morris Minor, a Land Rover Lightweight, an MG Midget, and a Triumph Stag. Among them, you'll notice that there's a lot of bird droppings on the different classics. That's because they've been stored in a big building where birds have gotten in, and they've done their thing with no respect for these classic cars. But that could easily be cleaned up, and this is an amazing haul, covered in bird droppings or not. Number 14. 500-year-old paintings from Italian master found. A mystery that had been going on at the Vatican for 500 years has just been solved when a room in the Vatican museums was being cleaned and fixed up. 2 paintings by the Renaissance artist Raphael were found. Experts think that these were his last works before his early death in 1520 when he was only 37 years old. Fabio Piacentini, who's in charge of the project at the Vatican, said, "It's an amazing feeling." Raphael painted the two women, one of whom stands for justice and the other for friendship, around 1519, but he died before he could finish the rest of the room. Other artists finished the wall and forgot about his two paintings. In 1508, Pope Julius II asked Raphael to paint the walls of his private apartments. Famous frescoes like the School of Athens were painted in 3 rooms that are now called the Raphael rooms. Then he started making plans for the Hall of Constantine, which would have been the largest room in the apartment. He planned to paint the room with oil instead of the more common fresco. In 2017, when workers started to clean the walls of the Hall of Constantine, they found that only 2 of the female figures were painted with oil while the rest of the room was painted with fresco. Ultraviolet and infrared photos would prove what scholars already knew. These 2 paintings were different from the rest, with the oil painting showing through the new technology. It was also clear to a trained eye that it was Raphael for other stylistic reasons. The restoration of the 2 rediscovered Raphaels and the rest of the Hall of Constantine at the Vatican will take until 2022 to complete, and it's going to cost around $3.1 million. Number 13. Millions of vintage trading cards found in Cadillac stamping plant. A group of urban explorers found a treasure trove when they unearthed boxes of perfect sports cards in an old warehouse. Word on the street is that the set is full of baseball, hockey, and NASCAR cards that could be worth more than $1 million. One of the explorers said that his main way to make money is to sell valuable cards he finds in boxes like these. Taking the cards is against the law because they belong to the warehouse's owner or whoever paid to keep them there before it was closed. However, according to the story, neither the warehouse's owner nor a representative had been there in decades, so they took a finder's keeper's approach to this amazing find, and now they're sitting on a fortune in rare trading cards. Okay, someone go find me a story just like this, but it's all like a bunch of Pokemon cards or our old Game Boy games. Number 12. Centuries-old shipwrecks containing gold coins found off Colombia. Get ready for a tale of high seas and the age of pirates. Not all treasure is silver and gold, to quote Jack Sparrow, except in this case it is all gold. 2 newly discovered shipwrecks, each dating back centuries, were recently found close to the remains of a Spanish galleon that was already known about. Amazingly, they were filled with gold worth about $17 billion. During the War of Spanish Succession in 1708, the British sunk the 3-masted galleon San Jose, which had 600 men on board. The vessel had 3 masts and 62 cannons. The Colombian government recently put out a video showing high-tech equipment being dropped into the ocean bottom where a cannon can be seen. Some of the marine life may be attempting to take over, but the bow of one of the ships still looks solid. In addition to the galleon's emblem and cannon, items unearthed in the San Jose shipwreck include handmade coins called macaquinas, a gold ingot, and the crew's weaponry. And now there's a pretty major dispute about who gets to keep all the gold, with the Spanish, the British, and the Colombians all making claims. I say launch a fleet of classic warships and fight for it. Who would win? Let us know. Number 11. Winning lottery ticket found in trash. A couple in Massachusetts almost threw away a winning scratch-off lottery ticket. If they had, they would have missed out on a $1 million prize. Joseph and Joan Zagami of North Attleboro, Massachusetts, were lucky because they remembered that they had accidentally thrown away their ticket. They dug it out of the trash and saw that they had won the jackpot. After hearing the winning numbers, Joseph Zagami said that he realized he had thrown away the tickets and went through the trash the next morning to see if he won. The Zagamis claimed their prize and chose a one-time lump sum payment of $455,000 after taxes to help support their family and pay their mortgage. But the couple also wants to have some fun with their winnings. They told Good Morning America that they plan to relax and party. Party means a lot of different things to different people, so I wonder what these guys meant. Hope they invited their garbage men to the party, because if they showed up early that morning, it could have been a very different story. Number 10. Ring containing Charlotte Bronte's hair discovered in attic. A woman was cleaning out her father-in-law's attic after he died. Inside an old mysterious box, she found a ring with the name and date of death of the famous Victorian author Charlotte Bronte, as well as a braided piece of her hair. Jeffrey Munn, a jewelry appraiser, said that he has no reason to doubt that the ring is real, because there was a fear in those times of not being able to remember the face and personality of people who had died. So this is part of a tradition of making a real memento, a piece of the person that can't be changed. It wasn't a rare thing to do, but it is rare to find such a famous one. If the ring didn't have Bronte's classic touch, it'd be worth about $30. However, Munn is selling it for about $26,000. Charlotte Bronte was the last of her 4 siblings to pass away. She got pregnant soon after she got married in June of 1854, but she died on March 31st of 1855, almost certainly from hyperemesis gravidarum, a pregnancy complication. Number 9. A rare photo of Billy the Kid was found in a thrift store. When you hear the name Billy the Kid, you might think of an outlaw and his band charging through dusty streets in the Wild West on their way to rob a bank. Even though books and movies have been made about his life, there actually aren't many photos of him. In fact, only 2 are known to exist. Randy Guiaro found the second one in a thrift store and paid just $2 for it. After forensic experts checked it out, the picture he found sold for $5 million. It shows Billy the Kid, his outlaw band the Regulators, and their wives and girlfriends playing croquet after a wedding in August of 1877. Billy the Kid killed a blacksmith during a fight. This made him a wanted man in Arizona, so he went to New Mexico and joined a group of cattle rustlers. After he joined the Regulators and fought in the Lincoln County War of 1878, he became notorious in the area. He and 2 other Regulators were later charged with killing 3 people, including Lincoln County Sheriff William J. Brady and one of his deputies. In 1880, McCarty was caught by Sheriff Pat Garrett. In April of 1881, Billy the Kid was tried for murder and sentenced to hang. He broke out of jail on April 28th and killed 2 sheriff's deputies on the way. It took more than 2 months for him to be caught. On July 14th of 1881, Garrett shot Billy the Kid, who was just 21 years old at the time. Number 8. A miner found this 156-ounce gold nugget with his metal detector. When most people think of using a metal detector, they think of looking for coins in the park or at the beach. Metal detectors don't often turn up real gold nuggets, but that's exactly what happened when Ty Paulson turned on his metal detector in Southern California to look for gold nuggets. He found a piece of treasure that was one of the most important things to be found in the last 100 years. He found a beautiful piece of raw gold that's now called the Mojave nugget. It was buried deep in the Mojave Desert in Southern California. People think that the Mojave nugget is the biggest piece of solid gold found near Randsburg's mine, but it's always possible that another huge nugget is still buried in the ground and waiting to be found. Number 7. Florida family finds $1 million in treasure from sunken Spanish Armada. A family from Florida that's been looking for treasure for years found more than $1 million worth of gold artifacts in the wreckage of a Spanish fleet that sank in the Atlantic in 1715. Brent Brisbane, whose company 1715 Fleet, Queen's Jewels LLC owns the wreckage, said that the find included 51 gold coins of different sizes and 40 feet of gold chain, which was some serious 18th century bling. Rick and Lisa Schmidt, along with their 2 kids and daughter-in-law, hunt for treasure from their salvage vessel, Arbooty. Yeah, they're really into the pirate stuff. The ships in the Spanish convoy carried goods worth about $400 million today, according to the manifest, and about 175 million of those goods have now been found. The most important part of the Schmidt's latest find is a perfect example of a coin called a royal that was made for King Philip V of Spain in 1715. Number 6. Stolen de Kooning painting worth $165 million found behind a bedroom door. David Killen, an art dealer in New York, went to look at a storage unit full of paintings that no one wanted. He didn't expect to find anything valuable there. A major gallery had already said no to the collection, so he knew it probably wasn't worth more than the $15,000 they were asking for it. Even though he wasn't sure, he finally agreed to buy because he thought the 200 junk paintings would fill up his auction house and he might make a few bucks here and there. But then, when he looked a little closer at what he bought, he saw a box that said, de Kooning. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The unit used to belong to a well-known restorer of works by Willem de Kooning, who was one of the most famous painters of the 20th century. For example, Interchange, an abstract work of art that he made in 1955, sold in 2015 for $300 million, making it the second most expensive painting ever sold. And now one lucky guy has a whole box full of these. Number 5. Rare copy of Declaration of Independence found hidden behind wallpaper surfaces. A very rare copy of the Declaration of Independence has recently been found. It was hidden behind wallpaper to keep it from being stolen by Civil War soldiers. The copy, which is one of only 51 copies known to exist, resurfaced publicly after being bought by billionaire David M. Rubenstein, co-founder of private equity firm the Carlyle Group. Seth Collar, who helped with the sale and sells rare documents, said the calfskin copy is one of 2 that Congress gave to founding Father James Madison in 1824. Madison probably gave the copy to his nephew Robert Louis Madison. Collar points out that the document was not part of Madison's estate when he died in 1836. By the time of the Civil War, Robert Louis Madison Jr., Madison's son, had the Declaration of Independence. Madison Jr., a doctor who served in the Confederate Army and was Robert E. Lee's doctor, seemed to be worried that the document would be destroyed by troops who were raiding. A newspaper article from 1913 says that the doctor's wife put the copy behind some paper on a wall in their home, which was probably in Lexington, Virginia. Even though it got some water damage during the war, the historic item stayed in the Madison family. The copy was found by Michael O'Mara, a descendant of James Madison, when he was going through family papers after his mother died in 2014. Number 4. A modern painting in the trash. A woman who clearly didn't know much about modern art found an abstract masterpiece by a Mexican artist in the trash and sold it for more than $1 million. Well, some people think that modern art is trash, but this woman noticed that the painting didn't belong in the garbage, and lucky for her, Rufino Tamayo's painting Trace Personages was found by Elizabeth Gibson in 2003. She saw it on her morning walk on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. She said, "Even though I didn't recognize it, I knew it had power, so she took it home." A private American collector who bid by phone at Sotheby's Latin American art sale bought the brightly colored abstract work for $1,049,000. Gibson spent 4 years trying to find out about the painting. Gibson got $15,000 for turning in Trace Personages as a reward. Trace Personages was painted in 1970, and a Houston collector bought it at the Sotheby's auction in 1977 as a gift for his wife. He paid $55,000 for it. When the couple moved to a new house 10 years later, it was stolen from storage. Born in 1899, Tamayo died in 1991. His early work is similar to that of the famous muralist Diego Rivera from the 20th century. In his later work, he used the bright colors and strong emotions of Oaxaca, the state where he grew up. Number 3. Man discovers the family heirlooms his father hid from the Nazis in World War II. We've heard a few tales of people who find treasures that had been lost for a long time by now. Rudy Schlattner is another one of these tales. Sometimes they're worth a lot of money, and sometimes they're more valuable because of how they make you feel. Schlattner and his family had to leave their home in Czechoslovakia soon after World War II. They had to leave the country because the government kicked out all the Czech Germans. When Schlattner finally went back to the house where he grew up almost 70 years later, he remembered a secret that his father had told him. Schlattner, who's now in his 80s, got in touch with the Czech government officials and was able to return to his childhood home, which had been turned into a kindergarten. Schlattner's family taught him a secret way to find some family things that his father had hidden away before they left the country. When Schlattner was a child, a piece of string was hung from one of the wood panels in the attic. After pulling the string, a set of shelves that Schlattner's father had hidden almost 70 years ago were revealed. On these shelves were all of the family heirlooms that Schlattner's father had hidden. Most of them still looked great. Schlattner is happy to see the items again, even though they're going to be kept in a museum. This is because the government has the right to keep any items left behind by Germans after the war. But Schlattner doesn't mind. He was just overwhelmed to see the things left by his long-dead father more than 70 years ago. Number 2. Utah treasure hunt ends with a $10,000 discovery near a trailhead. Now we move on to a real treasure hunt, and it's most exciting. This Utah treasure hunt got attention from all over the country. It started when a poem written in code was posted on organizers Andy Klein and John Maxim's Instagram accounts. Over the next few weeks, the two friends added more hints and clues to help people figure out where the treasure was hidden. When the hunt for the treasure first started, Klein and Maxim, who did a similar stunt previously with a $5,000 prize, gained a lot of attention. Klein said that he and Maxim were getting more than 1,000 direct messages a day from people who wanted to find the money. These people thanked them for the hunt, told stories from the trail, and begged for information on how to find the money. Eventual winner Andy Swanger said that he'd been looking for the treasure for 5 days before he found it, an amazing $10,000 prize. He and his family planned to pay some bills and take a trip to one of the happiest places on earth with the money he won. He said, "The kids really want to go to Disneyland, so that's what we're probably going to do." Number 1. California couple finds rare U.S. gold coins in backyard. In 2013, a couple was taking their dog for a walk near their remote home in Northern California when they saw a strange thing. A beat-up old can was hanging from a tree, and another was buried right under it. Opening them up, they found a treasure trove of old coins under the tree. The coins were later sold at an auction for more than $10 million. It was called the Saddle Ridge Hoard, and it's still the most gold coins ever found buried in the U.S. The story goes that the couple saw an old can hanging from a tree and thought it was a grave marker. They finally found the can below and pulled it out. It was so heavy that it was almost impossible to carry it home. The couple thought it was full of lead paint, but it was actually different old coins. They thought the hanging can was just a sign for whoever had hidden the money. The two people went back to the digging site with tools and a metal detector to look around more. They found 8 cans with 1,427 old coins inside. The couple was surprised about what they found, to say the least, and they also wanted to keep it safe. So they put it in a nice chest and buried it under a pile of wood. Then they started the time-consuming job of figuring out what the coins were and how much they were worth. Some of the rare double eagle coins found in the collection were worth more than $1 million today. Have you ever come across an abandoned place you'd love to explore? Or what's the coolest thing you've ever stumbled upon? Share your stories in the comments below. Also, don't forget to check out the other cool content we have appearing on the screen right now. See you next time.